Welcome everyone to our Sunday weekly Krishna book reading to Srila Prabhupada. We're so grateful that he lets us come and read to him. So as we always do, let us offer our respectful obeisances to Prabhupada and to each other. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti-Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nirvasesha Sunyavadi Paskachade Shatarane. And to each other, Vanchakalpatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patita Nam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So we were almost finished with the super excellent powers of Krishna, which was chapter what, Archana? Chapter 89. So we're near the end. For those of you online, you can take your Krishna book and you can follow along with the subtitles at the bottom of the page that our ITV provides. This helps you to follow along in English. So towards the end of the chapter, maybe 2 pages before the end of the chapter, we start with, the Lord was surrounded by his personal associates, Nanda and Sunanda, and the personified Sudarshan disk was also standing by him. As is stated in the Vedas, the Lord has innumerable energies, and they were also standing there personified. The most important among them were as follows: Pushti, the energy for nourishment; Shri, the energy of beauty; Kirti, the energy of reputation; and Aja, the energy of material creation. All these energies are invested in the administrators of the material world, namely Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and Lord Vishnu, and in the kings of the heavenly planets, Indra, Chandra, Varupa, and the sun god, Varuna, and the sun god. In other words, all these demigods, being empowered by the Lord with certain energies, engage in the transcendental loving service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Maha-Vishnu feature is an expansion of Krishna's body. It is also confirmed in the Brahma Samhita that Maha-Vishnu is a portion of a plenary expansion of Krishna. All such expansions are non-different from the personality of Godhead. But since Krishna appeared within this material world to manifest his pastimes as a human being, he and Arjuna immediately offered their respects to Lord Mahavishnu by bowing down before him. It is stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam that Lord Krishna offered respect to Mahavishnu. This means that he offered obeisances unto him only because Lord Mahavishnu is non-different from he himself. This offering of obeisances by Krishna to Mahavishnu is not, however, the form of worship known as Ahangraha Upanasa, which is sometimes recommended for persons who are trying to elevate themselves to the spiritual world by performing the sacrifice of knowledge. This is also stated in the Bhagavad-Gita. Jnana jnanena chapyate yadjanto mam upashate.
Although there was no necessity for Krishna to offer obeisances, because he is the master teacher, he taught Arjuna just how respect should be offered to Lord Mahavishnu. Arjuna, however, became very much afraid upon seeing the gigantic form of everything, distinct from the material experiences. Seeing Krishna offering obeisances to Lord Mahavishnu, he immediately followed him and then stood before the Lord with folded hands. After this, the gigantic form of Maha-Vishnu, greatly pleased, smiled pleasingly and spoke as follows. My dear Krishna and Arjuna, I was very eager to see you both, and therefore I arranged to take away the babies of the Brahmana and keep them here. I have been expecting to see you both at this place, at this palace. You have appeared in the material world as my incarnation in order to minimize the force of the demoniac persons who burden the world. Now, after killing all these unwanted demons, you will please come back to me. The two of you are incarnations of the great sage Nar and Narayan, although you are both complete in yourselves to protect the devotees and to annihilate the demons, and especially to establish religious principles in the world so that peace and tranquility may continue. You are teaching the basic principles of actual religion so that the people of the world may follow you and thereby be peaceful and prosperous.
Lord Krishna and Arjuna then offered their obeisances to Lord Maha-Vishnu, and taking back the Brahmana's children, they returned to Dwarka via the same route by which they had entered the spiritual world. All the children of the Brahmana had duly grown up. After returning to Dwarka, Lord Krishna and Arjuna delivered to the Brahmana all of his sons. Arjuna, however, was struck with great wonder after visiting the transcendental world by the grace of Lord Krishna. And by the grace of Lord Krishna, he could understand that whatever opulence there may be within this material world is an emanation from him. Any opulent position a person may have within this material world is due to Krishna's mercy. One should therefore always be in Krishna consciousness, in complete gratefulness to Lord Krishna, because whatever one may possess is all bestowed by him.
Arjuna's wonderful experience due to the mercy of Krishna is one of the many thousands of pastimes performed by Lord Krishna during his stay in this material world. They were all unique and have no parallel in the history of the world. All these pastimes prove fully that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yet, while present within this material world, he played just like an ordinary man with many worldly duties. He played the part of an ideal householder possessing more than 16,000 wives, 16,000 palaces, and 160,000 children. 160,000 children, and in that role he performed many sacrifices just to teach the royal order how to live in the material world for the welfare of humanity. As the ideal Supreme Personality, he fulfilled the desires of everyone from the Brahmanas, the highest persons in human society, down to the ordinary living entities, including the lowest of men. Just as King Indra is in charge of distributing rain all over the world to satisfy everyone in due course, so Lord Krishna satisfies everyone by pouring down his causeless mercy. His mission was to give protection to the devotees and to kill the demoniac kings. Therefore, he killed many hundreds and thousands of demons. Some of them he killed personally, and some were killed by Arjuna, who was deputed by Krishna. In this way, he established many pious kings such as Yudhishthir at the helm of world affairs. Thus, by his divine arrangement, he created the good government of King Yudhishthir, and these ensued peace and tranquility. Thus ends the Bhakti-Vedanta purport of the 89th chapter of Krishna, the super excellent power of Krishna. Haribo.
Chapter 90. Summary description of Lord Krishna's pastimes. After returning from the spiritual world, spiritual kingdom which he was able to visit personally with Krishna, Arjuna was very much astonished. He thought to himself that although he was only an ordinary living entity, by the grace of Krishna, it had been possible for him to see the spiritual world. Not only had he seen the spiritual world, but he had also personally seen the original Maha-Vishnu, the cause of the material creation. It is said that Krishna never goes out of Vrindavan. Vrindavanam Paryatyajya Padam Ekam Na Gacchati. Krishna is supreme in Mathura, he is more supreme in Dwarka, and he is most supreme in Vrindavan. Krishna's pastimes in Dwarka are displayed by his Vasudev portion. Yet there is no difference between Vasudev portion manifested in Mathura and Dwarka and the original manifestation of Krishna in Vrindavan. In the beginning of this book, we have discussed that when Krishna appears, all his incarnations, plenary portions, and portions of the plenary portions come with him. Thus, some of his different pastimes are manifested not by the original Krishna himself, but by his expansions.
Why Arjuna was puzzled by Krishna's going to see Karna Vyasai Vishnu in the spiritual world is fully discussed in the commentaries of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur as follows. It is understood from the speech of Maha-Vishnu that he was very eager to see Krishna. It may be said, however, that since Maha-Vishnu took away the Brahmana's son, he must certainly have gone to Dwarka to do so. Therefore, why did he not see Krishna there? A possible answer is that unless Krishna gives his permission, he cannot be seen even by Maha-Vishnu lying in the causal ocean of the spiritual world. Thus, Maha-Vishnu took away the Brahmana's sons, one after another, just after their births, so that Krishna would come personally to the causal ocean to retrieve them. And then Maha-Vishnu would be able to see him there. If that is so, the next question is this. Why would Maha-Vishnu come to Dwarka personally if he were not able to see Krishna? Why did he not send some of his associates to take away the sons of Brahmana? A possible answer is that it is very difficult to put any of the citizens of Dwarka into trouble in the presence of Krishna. Therefore, because it was not possible for any of Mahavishnu's associates to take away the Brahmana's sons, he personally came to take them.
Another question may also be raised. The Lord is known as Brahmanya Deva, the worshipable deity of the Brahmanas. So why was he inclined to put a Brahmana into such a terrible condition of lamentation over one son after another until the 10th son was taken away? The answer is that Lord Mahavishnu was so eager to see Krishna that he did not hesitate even to give trouble to a Brahmana. Although giving trouble to a Brahmana is a forbidden act, Lord Vishnu was prepared to do anything in order to see Krishna. He was so eager to see him. After losing each of his sons, the Brahmana would come to the gate of the palace and accuse the king of not being able to give the Brahmanas protection and of thus being unfit to sit on the royal throne. It was Mahavishnu's plan that the Brahmanas would accuse the Kshatriyas and Krishna would be obliged to come see him to take back the Brahmana's sons.
Still another question may be raised. If Mahavishnu cannot see Krishna, then how was Krishna obliged to come before him after all to take back the sons of the Brahmanas? The answer is that Krishna went to see the Lord Maha-Vishnu not exactly to take back the sons of the Brahmanas, but only for Arjuna's sake. His friendship with Arjuna was so intimate that when Arjuna prepared himself to die by entering a fire, Krishna wanted to give him complete protection. Arjuna, however, would not desist from entering the fire unless the sons of the Brahmana were brought back. Therefore, Krishna promised him, I shall bring back the Brahmana's sons. Do not try to commit suicide.
If Lord Krishna were going to see Lord Vishnu only to reclaim the sons of the Brahmana, then he would not have waited until the 10th son was taken. But when the 10th son was taken away by Lord Maha-Vishnu, and when Arjuna was therefore ready to enter the fire because of his promise was going to prove false, that serious situation made Lord Krishna decide to go with Arjuna to see Maha-Vishnu. It is said that Arjuna is an empowered incarnation of Nara-Narayan. He is even sometimes called Nara-Narayan. The Nara-Narayan incarnation is one of Lord Vishnu's plenary expansions. Therefore, when Krishna and Arjuna went to see Lord Vishnu, it is to be understood that Arjuna visited in his Nara-Narayan capacity, just as Krishna, when he displayed his pastimes in Dwarka, acted in his Vasudeva capacity.
After visiting the spiritual world, Arjuna concluded that whatever opulence anyone can show within the material or spiritual worlds is all a gift of Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna is manifested in various forms as Vishnu Tattva and Jiva Tattva, or in other words, as Swamsa and Vibhinnamsa. Vishnu Tattva is known as Swamsa and Jiva Tattva is known as Vibhinnamsa. He can therefore display himself by his different transcendental pastimes in the portion of either Swamsa or Vibhinnamsa, as he likes, but still he remains the original Supreme Personality of Godhead.
The concluding portion of Krishna's pastimes is found in the 19th chapter of the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And in this chapter, Shukadev Goswami wanted to explain how Krishna lived happily at Dwarka with all opulences. Krishna's opulence of strength has already been displayed in his different pastimes. And now it will be shown how his residence at Dwarka displayed his opulences of wealth and beauty. In this material world, the opulences of wealth and beauty are considered the highest of all opulences. Yet they are only a perverted reflection of these opulences in the spiritual world. Therefore, while Krishna stayed on this planet as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his opulences of wealth and beauty had no comparison within the three worlds. Krishna enjoyed 16,000 beautiful wives, and it is most significant that he lived at Dwarka as the only husband of these thousands of beautiful women. This is specifically stated that he was the only husband of 16,000 wives. It is, of course, not unheard of in the history of the world that a powerful king would keep many hundreds of queens. But although such a king might be the only husband of so many wives, he could not enjoy all of them at one time. Lord Krishna, however, enjoyed all of his 16,000 wives simultaneously.
Although it may be said that yogis also can expand their bodies into many forms, the yogi's expansion and Lord Krishna's expansion are not the same. Krishna is therefore sometimes called Yogeshwara, the master of all yogis. In the Vedic literature, we find that Yogi Sobaramuni expanded himself into 8, but that expansion was like a television expansion. the television image is manifested in millions of expansions, but those expansions cannot act differently. They are simply reflections of the original and can only act exactly as the original does. Krishna's expansion is not material, like the expansion of the television or the yogi. When Narada visited the different palaces of Krishna, he saw that Krishna, in his different expansions, was variously engaged in each and every palace of the queens.
It is also said that Krishna lived in Dwarka as the husband of the goddess of fortune. Queen Rukmini is the goddess of fortune, and all other queens are her expansions. So Krishna, the chief of Vrishni dynasty, enjoyed with the goddess of fortune in full opulence. The queens of Krishna are described as permanently youthful and beautiful. Although Krishna had grandchildren and great-grandchildren, neither Krishna nor his queens looked older than 16 or 20 years of age. The young queens were so beautiful that when they moved, they appeared like lightning moving in the sky. They were always dressed with excellent ornaments and garments, and were always engaged in sportive activities like dancing, singing, or playing ball on the roofs of the palaces. The dancing and tennis playing of girls in the material world are perverted reflections of the original pastimes of original personality of Godhead, Krishna and his wives.
The roads and streets of the city of Dwarka were always crowded with elephants, horses, chariots, and infantry soldiers. When elephants are engaged in service, they are given liquor to drink, and it is said that the elephants in Dwarka were given so much liquor that they would sprinkle a great quantity of it on the road and still walk on the streets intoxicated. The infantry soldiers passing on the streets were profusely decorated with golden ornaments, and horses and golden chariots plied along the streets. In all directions of Dwarka city, wherever one would turn his eyes, he would find green parks and gardens, each of them filled with trees and plants laden with fruits and flowers. Because there were so many nice trees of fruits and flowers, all the sweetly chirping birds and buzzing bumblebees joined together to make sweet vibrations. The city of Dwarka thus fully displayed all opulences. The heroes in the dynasty of Yadu used to think themselves the most fortunate residents of the city, and actually they enjoyed all transcendental facilities.
All the 16,000 palaces of Krishna's queens were situated in this beautiful city of Dwarka, and Lord Krishna, the supreme eternal enjoyer of all these facilities, expanded himself into 16,000 forms and simultaneously engaged in different family affairs in those 16,000 palaces. In each and every one of the palaces, there were nicely decorated gardens and lakes. The crystal clear water of the lakes contained many blooming lotus flowers of different colors, like blue, yellow, white, and red, and the saffron powder from the lotus flowers was blown all around by the breeze. All the lakes were full of beautiful swans, ducks, and cranes, crying occasionally with melodious sounds. Lord Sri Krishna sometimes entered those lakes or the rivers with his wives and enjoyed swimming pastimes with them in full jubilation. Sometimes the wives of Lord Krishna, who were all goddesses of fortune, would embrace the Lord in the midst of the water while swimming or taking a bath, and the red vermilion of kumkuma decorating their beautiful breast would adorn the chest of the Lord with a reddish color.
The impersonalists would not dare believe that in the spiritual world there are such varieties of enjoyment, but in order to demonstrate the factual, ever blissful enjoyment in the spiritual world, Lord Krishna descended to this planet and showed that the spiritual world is not devoid of such pleasurable facilities of life. My voice is really bad. Shall I give it to you? Okay, I'll try. Okay. The only difference is that in the spiritual world, such facilities are eternal, never-ending occurrences, whereas in the material world, they are simply impermanent, perverted reflections. When Lord Krishna was engaged in such enjoyment, the Gandharvas and professional musicians would glorify him with melodious musical concerts accompanied by kettle drums, mridangas and other drums, along with stringed instruments and brass bugles, and the whole atmosphere would change into a greatly festive celebration. In a festive mood, the wives of the Lord would sometimes sprinkle water on his body with a syringe-like instrument, and the Lord would similarly wet the bodies of the queens. When Krishna and the queens engaged themselves in these pastimes, it seems as if the heavenly king Yaksharaj were engaged in pastimes with his many wives. Yaksharaj is also known as Kuvera and is considered the treasurer of the heavenly kingdom. When the wives of Lord Krishna thus became wet, their breasts and thighs would increase in beauty 1,000 times, and their long hair would fall down to decorate those parts of their bodies. The beautiful flowers placed in their hair would fall, and the queens, seemingly harassed by the lords throwing water at them, would approach him on the plea of snatching the syringe-like instruments. This attempt would create a situation wherein the Lord would embrace them as they willingly approached him. Upon being embraced, the wives of the Lord would feel as if the wives of the Lord would feel on their mouths a clear indication of conjugal love, and this would create an atmosphere of spiritual bliss. When the garland on the neck of the Lord then touched the breasts of the queens, and their whole bodies became covered with saffron yellow. Being engaged in their celestial pastimes, the queens forgot themselves, and their loosened hair appeared like beautiful waves of a river. When the queens sprinkled water on the body of Krishna, or he sprinkled water on the bodies of the queens, the whole situation appeared just like that of an elephant enjoying in a lake with many she-elephants.
After enjoying fully amongst themselves, the queens and Lord Krishna would come out of the water, and they would give up their wet garments, which were very valuable, to be taken away by the professional singers and dancers. These singers and dancers had no means of subsistence other than the rewards of valuable garments and ornaments left by the queens and kings on such occasions. The whole system of society was so well planned that all the members of society, in their different positions as Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras, had no difficulty in earning their livelihood. There was no competition among the divisions of society. The original conception of the caste system was so well planned that one group of men engaged in a particular type of occupation would not compete with another group of men engaged in a different occupation.
In this way, Lord Krishna used to enjoy the company of his 16,000 wives. Some devotees of the Lord who want to love the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the mellow of conjugal love are elevated to the position of becoming wives of Krishna. And Krishna keeps them always attached to him by his kind behavior. Krishna's behavior with his wives, his movements, his talking with them, his smiling, his embracing, and similar other activities, which are just like those of a loving husband, kept them always very much attached to him. That is the highest perfection of life. If someone remains always attached to Krishna, It is to be understood that he is liberated and his life is successful. With any devotees who loves Krishna with his heart and soul, Krishna reciprocates in such a way that the devotee cannot but remain attached to him. The reciprocal dealings of Krishna and his devotees are so attractive that a devotee cannot think of any subject matter other than Krishna.
For all the queens, Krishna was their only worshipable object. They were always absorbed in thought of Krishna, the lotus-eyed and beautifully blackish personality of Godhead. Sometimes in thought of Krishna, they remained silent, and in great ecstasy of bhava and anubhava, they sometimes spoke as if in delirium. Sometimes, even in the presence of Lord Krishna, they vividly described the pastimes they had enjoyed in the lake or river with him. Some of such talk is described here.
The queen said, "Dear Kurari bird, now it is very late at night. Everyone is sleeping. The whole world is now calm and peaceful. At this time, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is sleeping, although his knowledge is undisturbed by any circumstances. Then why are you not sleeping? Why are you lamenting like this throughout the whole night? Dear friend, is it that you are also attracted by the lotus eyes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and by his sweet, smiling and attractive words exactly as we are? Do those dealings of the Supreme Personality of Godhead pinch your heart as they do ours?"
Hello, Chakravaki. Why have you closed your eyes? Are you searching after your husband, who may have gone to foreign countries? Why are you lamenting so pitiably? Alas, it appears that you are very much aggrieved. Or is it a fact that you also are willing to become an eternal servitor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead? We think that you are anxious to put a garland on the lotus feet of the Lord and then place it on your hair.
Oh dear ocean, why are you roaring all day and night? Don't you like to sleep? We think you have been attacked by insomnia, or if we are not wrong, our dear Shyam Sundara has tactfully taken away your gravity and power of forbearance, which are your natural qualifications. Is it a fact that for this reason you are suffering from insomnia like us? Yes, we admit that there is no remedy for this disease.
Dear Moon God, dear Moon God, we think you have been attacked by a severe type of tuberculosis. For this reason, you're becoming thinner and thinner day by day. Oh Lord, you are now so weak that your thin rays cannot dissipate the darkness of night. Or is it a fact that, just like us, you have become stunned by the mysteriously sweet words of our Lord Shamasundara? It is a fact that it is, is it a fact that it is because of this severe anxiety that you are so grave?
Keep going.
Okay. Oh breeze from the Himalayas, what have we done to you that you are so intent on teasing us by awakening our lust to meet Krishna? Do you not know that we have already been injured by the crooked policy of the personality of Godhead? Dear Himalayan breeze, please know that we have already been stricken. There is no need to injure us more and more.
Dear beautiful cloud, the color of your beautiful body exactly resembles the bodily hue of our dear most Shyamsundar. We think, therefore, that you are very dear to our Lord, the chief of the dynasty of the Yadus, And because you are so dear to him, you are absorbed in meditation, exactly as we are. We can appreciate that your heart is full of anxiety for Shyamsundara. You appear excessively eager to see him, and we see that for this reason only, drops of tears are gliding down from your eyes, just as they are from ours. Dear Black Cloud, we must admit frankly that to establish an intimate relationship with Shyamsundara means to purchase unnecessary anxieties while we are otherwise comfortable at home.
Generally, the cuckoo sounds its cooling vibration at the end of night or early in the morning. When the queens heard the cooing of the cuckoo at the end of night, they said, "Dear cuckoo, your voice is very sweet. As soon as you vibrate your sweet voice, we immediately remember Shyamsundar, because your voice exactly resembles his. We must frankly admit that your voice is imbued with nectar, and it is so invigorating that it is competent to bring back life to those who are almost dead in separation from their dearmost friend. So we are very much obliged to you. Please let us know how we can welcome you or how we can do something for you."
The queens continued talking like that, and they addressed the mountains as follows: "Dear mountain, you are very generous. By your gravity only, the whole crust of this earth is properly maintained. Although, because you are discharging your duties very faithfully, you do not know how to move. Because you are so grave, you do not move hither and thither, nor do you say anything. Rather, you always appear in a thoughtful mood. It may be that you are always thinking of a very grave and important subject matter, but we can guess very clearly what you are thinking of. We are sure that you are thinking of placing the lotus feet of Shyamsundar on your raised peaks, as we want to place his lotus feet on our raised breast."
Dear dry rivers, we know that because in the summer season all your beds are dry and you have no water, because all your water has now been dried up, you are no longer beautified by blooming lotus flowers. At the present moment, you appear very lean and thin. So we can understand that your position is exactly like ours. We have lost everything due to being separated from Shyamasundar, and we no longer hear his pleasing words. Our hearts no longer work properly. And therefore, we also have become very lean and thin. We think, therefore, that you are just like us. Turned lean and thin because you are not getting any water from your husband, the ocean, through the clouds. The example given herewith by the queens is very appropriate. The riverbeds become dry when the ocean no longer supplies water through the clouds. The ocean is supposed to be the husband of the river and therefore is supposed to support her. Unless a woman is supported by her husband with the necessities of life, she also becomes as dry as a dry river.
One queen addressed a swan as follows: "My dear swan, please come here, come here. You are welcome. Please sit down and take some milk. My dear swan, can you tell me if you have any message from Shyamasundar? I take you to be a messenger from him. If you have any such news, oh, please tell me. Our Shyamasundar is always very independent. He never comes under the control of anyone. We have all failed to control him, and therefore we ask you, is he keeping himself well? I may inform you that Shyamasundar is very fickle. His friendship is always temporary. It breaks even by slight agitation. But would you kindly explain why he is so unkind to me? Formerly he said that I alone am his dearmost wife. Does he remember this assurance? Anyway, you are welcome. Please sit down. But I cannot accept your entreaty to go to Shamasundar. When he does not care for me, why should I be mad after him? I am very sorry to let you know that you have become the messenger of a poor-hearted soul. You are asking me to go to him, but I am not going. What is that? You talk of his coming to me? Does he desire to come here to fulfill my long expectation for him? All right, you may bring him here, but don't bring with him his most beloved goddess of fortune. Do you think that he cannot be separated from the goddess of fortune even for a moment? Could he not come here alone without Lakshmi? His behavior is very displeasing. Does it mean that without Lakshmi, Shamasundar cannot be happy? Can't he be happy with any other wife? Does it mean that the goddess of fortune has the ocean of love for him, and none of us can compare to her?
All the wives of Lord Krishna were completely absorbed in thought of him. Krishna is known as Yogeshwara, the master of all yogis, and all the wives of Krishna at Dwarka used to keep this Yogeshwara within their hearts. Instead of trying to be master of all yogic mystic powers, it is better if one simply keeps the supreme Yogeshwara, Krishna, within his heart. Thus, one's life can become perfect, and one can very easily be transferred to the kingdom of God. It is to be understood that all the queens of Krishna who lived with him at Dwarka were in their previous lives very greatly exalted devotees who wanted to establish a relationship with Krishna in conjugal love. Thus, they were given the chance to become his wives and enjoy a constant loving relationship with him. Ultimately, they were all transferred to the Vaikuntha planets.
The Supreme Absolute Truth, Personality of Godhead, is never impersonal. All the Vedic scriptures glorify the transcendental performance of his various personal activities and pastimes. It is said that in the Vedas and in the Ramayana, only the activities of the Lord are described. Everywhere in the Vedic literature, his glories are sung. As soon as soft-hearted people, such as women, hear those transcendental pastimes of Lord Krishna, they immediately become attracted to him. Soft-hearted women and girls are therefore very easily drawn to the Krishna consciousness movement. One who is thus drawn to the Krishna consciousness movement and tries to keep himself in constant touch with such consciousness certainly gets the supreme salvation, going back to Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan. If simply by developing Krishna consciousness one can be transferred to the spiritual world, one can simply imagine how blissful and blessed were the queens of Lord Krishna who talked with him personally and saw Lord Krishna face to face. No one can properly describe the fortune of the wives of Lord Krishna. They took care of him personally by rendering various transcendental services like bathing him, feeding him, pleasing him, and serving him. Thus no one's austerities can compare to the service of the queens at Dwarka.
Sukdev Goswami informed Maharaj Parikshit that for self-realization, the austerities and penances performed by the queens at Dwarika have no comparison. The objective of self-realization is one, Krishna. Therefore, although the dealings of the queens with Krishna appear just like ordinary dealings between husband and wife, the principal point to be observed is the queen's attachment for Krishna. The entire process of austerity and penance is meant to detach one from the material world and enhance one's attachment to Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna is the shelter of all persons advancing in self realization. As an ideal householder, he lived with his wives and performed the Vedic rituals just to show less intelligent persons that the Supreme Lord is never impersonal. Krishna lived with wives and children in all opulence, exactly like an ordinary conditioned soul, just to teach those souls who are actually conditioned that they must enter into the family circle of Krishna, where he is the center. For example, the members of the Yadu dynasty lived in the family of Krishna, and Krishna was the center of all their activities.
Renunciation is not as important as enhancing one's attachment to Krishna. The Krishna consciousness movement is especially meant for this purpose. We are preaching the principle that it does not matter whether a man is a sannyasi or grihastha, householder. One simply has to increase his attachment for Krishna, and then his life is successful. Following in the footsteps of Lord Sri Krishna, one can live with his family members or within the society or nation, not for the purpose of indulging in sense gratification, but to realize Krishna by advancing in attachment for him. There are 4 principles of elevation from conditioned life to the life of liberation, which are technically known as dharma, artha, kama, and moksha: religion, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation. If one lives a family life following in the footsteps of Lord Krishna's family members, one can achieve all 4 of these principles of success simultaneously by making Krishna the center of all activities.
It is already known to us that Krishna had 16,108 wives. All these wives were exalted liberated souls, and among them Queen Rukmini was the chief. After Rukmini, there were 7 other principal wives, and the names of the sons of these 8 principal queens have already been mentioned. Besides the sons born of these 8 queens, Lord Krishna had 10 sons by each of the other queens. Thus, altogether, Krishna's sons numbered 16,108 times 10. One should not be astonished to hear that Krishna had so many sons. One should always remember that Krishna is the personality of Godhead, and that he has unlimited potencies. He claims all living entities as his sons, so the fact that he had 161,080 sons attached to him personally should be no cause for astonishment.
Among Krishna's greatly powerful sons, 18 sons were Maharathas. The Maharathas could fight alone against many thousands of foot soldiers, charioteers, cavalry, and elephants. The reputations of these 18 sons are very widespread and are described in almost all the Vedic scriptures. The 18 Maharatha sons are listed as Pradyumna, Aniruddha, Diptiman, Bhanu, Samba, Madhu, Brihad Bhanu, Chitra Bhanu, Vrikra, Aruna, Pushkara, Vedbahu, Shrutadev, Sunanda, Chitrabahu, Virupa, Kavi, and Nyagrodha. Of these 18 Maharatha sons of Krishna, Pradyumna is considered the foremost. Pradyumna happened to be the eldest son of Queen Rukmini, and he inherited all the qualities of his great father, Lord Krishna. He married the daughter of his maternal uncle, Rukmi, and from that marriage, Aniruddha was born. Aniruddha was so powerful that he could fight against 10,000 elephants. He married the granddaughter of Rukmi, the brother of his grandmother Rukmini. Because the relationship between these cousins was distant, such a marriage was not uncommon. Aniruddha's son was Vajra. When the whole Yadu dynasty was destroyed by the curse of some Brahmanas, only Vajra survived. Vajra had one son, whose name was Pratibahu. The son of Pratibahu was named Subahu. The son of Subahu was named Shantasena. The son of Shantasena was Shatasena.
All these names, Prabhupada. It is stated by Shukadeva Goswami that all the members of the Yadu dynasty had many children, just as Krishna had many sons, grandsons, and great-grandsons. Each one of the kings named herewith also had similar family extensions. Not only did all of them have many children, but all were extraordinarily rich and opulent. None of them were weak or short-lived, and above all the members of the Yadu dynasty were staunch devotees of the Brahminical culture. It is the duty of the Kshatriya kings to maintain the Brahminical culture and protect the qualified Brahmanas, and all these kings discharged their duties rightly. The members of the Yadu dynasty were so numerous that it would be very difficult to describe them all, even if one had a duration of life of so many thousands of years. Srila Shukadeva Goswami informed Maharaj Parikshit that he had heard from reliable sources that simply to teach the children of the Yadu dynasty there were as many as 38,800,000 tutors or acharyas. If so many teachers were needed to educate their children, one can simply imagine how vast was the number of family members. As for their military strength, it is said that King Ugrasena alone had 10 quadrillion soldiers as personal bodyguards.
Before the advent of Lord Krishna within this universe, there were many battles between the demons and the demigods. Many demons died in the fighting, and they all were given the chance to take birth in high royal families on this earth. Because of their royal exalted post, all these demons became very much puffed up, and their only business was to harass their subjects. Lord Krishna appeared on this planet just at the end of the Dwapara Yuga to annihilate all these demoniac kings. As it is stated in Bhagavad-Gita, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkrutam. The Lord comes to protect the devotees and annihilate the miscreants. Some of the demigods were asked to appear on this earth to assist in the transcendental pastimes of Lord Krishna. When Krishna appeared, he came in the association of his eternal servitors. But some of the demigods also were requested to come down to assist him, and thus they took their births in the Yadu dynasty. The Yadu dynasty had 101 clans in different parts of the country. All the members of these different clans respected Lord Krishna in a manner befitting his divine position, and all of them were his devotees, heart and soul. Thus, all the members of the Yadu dynasty were very opulent, happy, and prosperous, and they had no anxieties because of their implicit faith in and devotion to Lord Krishna. They were never defeated by any other kings. Their love for Krishna was so intense that in their regular activities, in sitting, sleeping, traveling, talking, spotting, cleansing, bathing, they were simply absorbed in thoughts of Krishna and paid no attention to bodily necessities. That is the symptom of a pure devotee of Lord Krishna. Just as when a man is fully absorbed in some particular thought, he sometimes forgets his other bodily activities. The members of the Yadu dynasty acted automatically for their bodily necessities, but their actual attention was always fixed on Krishna. Their bodily activities were performed mechanically, but their minds were always absorbed in Krishna consciousness.
Srila Shukadev Goswami has concluded the 19th chapter of the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam by pointing out 5 particular excellencies of Lord Krishna. The first excellence is that before Lord Krishna's appearance in the Yadu family, the river Ganges was known as the purest of all things. Even impure things could be purified simply by touching the water of the Ganges. This super excellent power of the Ganges water was due to its having emanated from the toe of Lord Vishnu. But when Lord Krishna, the Supreme Vishnu, appeared in the family of the Yadu dynasty, he travelled personally throughout the kingdom of the Yadus, and by his intimate association with the Yadu dynasty, the whole family not only became very famous, but also became more effective in purifying others. More effective in purifying others than the water of the Ganges.
The next excellence of Lord Krishna's appearance was that although he apparently gave protection to the devotees and annihilated the demons, both the devotees and the demons achieved the same result. Lord Krishna is the bestower of 5 kinds of liberation, of which Sayujya Mukti, or the liberation of becoming one with Supreme, was given to demons like Kamsa, whereas the gopis were given the chance to associate with him personally. The gopis kept their individuality to enjoy the company of Lord Krishna, but Kamsa was accepted into his impersonal Brahma Jyoti. In other words, both the demons and the gopis were spiritually liberated, but because the demons were enemies and the gopis were friends, the demons were killed and the gopis protected.
The third excellence of Lord Krishna's appearance was that the goddess of fortune, who is worshipped by demigods like Lord Brahma, Indra, and Chandra, remained always engaged in the service of the Lord, even though the Lord gave more preference to the gopis. Lakshmi ji, the goddess of fortune, tried her best to be on an equal level with the gopis, but she was not successful. Nevertheless, she remained faithful to Krishna, although she generally does not remain in one place, even if worshipped by demigods like Lord Brahma.
The fourth excellence of Lord Krishna's appearance concerns the glories of his name. It is stated in the Vedic literature that by chanting the different names of Lord Vishnu 1,000 times, one may be bestowed with the same benefits as by thrice chanting the holy name of Lord Ram. And by chanting the holy name of Lord Krishna only once, one receives the same benefit. In other words, of all the holy names of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, including Vishnu and Ram, the holy name of Krishna is the most powerful. The Vedic literature therefore specifically stresses the chanting of the holy name of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Lord Chaitanya introduced this chanting of the holy name of Krishna in this age, thus making liberation much more easily obtainable than in other ages. In other words, Lord Krishna is more excellent than his incarnations, although all of them are equally the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
The fifth excellence of Lord Krishna's appearance is that he established the most excellent of all religious principles by his one statement in Bhagavad-Gita, that simply by surrendering unto him, one can discharge all the principles of religious rites. In the Vedic literature, there are 20 kinds of religious principles mentioned. Each of them is described in different shastras. But Lord Krishna is so kind to the fallen conditioned soul of this age that he personally appeared and asked everyone to give up all kinds of religious rites and simply surrender unto him. It is said that this age of Kali is 3/4 devoid of religious principles. Hardly 1/4 of the principle of religion are still observed in this age. But by the mercy of Lord Krishna, not only has this void of Kali Yuga has been completely filled, but the religious process has been made so easy that simply by rendering transcendental loving service unto Lord Krishna, by chanting his holy names, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, one can achieve the highest result of religion, namely being transferred to the highest planet within the spiritual world, Golok Vrindavan. Considering all this, one can immediately appreciate the benefit of Lord Krishna's appearance on the earth and understand that his giving relief to the people of world by his appearance was not at all extraordinary.
So that concludes our 1 hour of reading Krishna book to Srila Prabhupada. We wanted to show you, if the camera can come close, to this beautiful painting. These were done in the early 70s. This is a beautiful painting of Krishna and his queens all spraying water on each other. And you can see Krishna has that little syringe. Sometimes we do that on the altar. We put Krishna and the syringe in Krishna and the gopis' hands. So beautiful. So we want to thank Srila Prabhupada for allowing us to come and read to him. And let us offer our respectful obeisances to you, Srila Prabhupada, and to each other. Namo Vishnu Vadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti-Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paskacha Deshatarane. And to each other, Vanchakalpatrubhyas cha Kripa Sindhu Bheva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So next week we'll continue with that last chapter of Krishna book this time. The summary description of Lord Krishna's pastimes. So this is our 4th year reading Krishna book to Srila Prabhupada and our 4th time around Krishna book. So after this chapter, we'll start all over again. Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Glories to Srila Prabhupada and glories to his Krishna book. Hare Krishna.